basketball analysis with over 70 years combined experience.
The Bob Ryan and Jeff Goodman podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time.
It's time for Bob Ryan, Jeff Goodman, Tanguay along for the ride pod right here on CLNS Media, brought to you by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks. Guys, good to see you. Here we go. Okay, at one point in time, a 113-107 come-from-behind win over the Milwaukee Bucks would mean something. A lot of bones to pick on this carcass, but does this win mean anything, Jeff?
Not a whole lot anymore. I mean, last I checked, the Bucks are towards the bottom of the barrel now, which is insane.
They've lost 8 of 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, this was a team that, was a NBA favorite. They won a title. They were an NBA favorite, 2 years ago, as recently? And, John Horst made a move that I think will forever in Milwaukee lore be looked at as the wrong one, and that was getting rid of Jrue Holiday and bringing in Dame Lillard. And they're getting older, too. Brook Lopez is, 36?
Yep.
Chris Middleton can't stay healthy. He's never going to be what he was when they won their title. But I think, there's something to be said for winning a guy who's just kind of the culture. Like, that culture was Jrue Holiday. And we see it now in Boston, right?
Right.
You got rid of a guy who was the fabric of what you're about. And you basically, he ended up going to your rival in a sense right now in the East. And terrible move by John Horst, the GM of the Bucks. And listen, that's it. The Bucks are done. They're toast. They are toast.
Well, we agreed before, early on that the window's shut. So that's that. So they're middle of the pack at best team. It's a nice win in the context when you're down early. Also, my big takeaway was yet another reminder how good Giannis is.
Yeah.
That first half, that first quarter, come on. Not many people can do that, and he can still do that, but it's not enough. That's the whole thing. And they have a situation. What are they going to do? Are they going to keep him, or they're not going to keep him? Are they going to be a trading deadline thing for him? We'll see. That's a decision they have to make. So it's not a great win. You're right. They're not that great a team, but it's a nice win. And to pull yourself together and come back. Also, I'm getting to be a total sycophant on Pritchard. I just love Pritchard. He keeps him alive in the first half. All by himself.
Big first half, sure.
He keeps him alive all by himself in the first half. That's the second time we've seen a team do that, a guy do that this year in that regard, out of that body side. And opening night, Miles McBride kept the Knicks alive in the exact same way in the first half. But just if you recall. No, I love Pritchard. And then, Tatum has a way of coming around, He comes around. He came around in the second half. So, I mean, it's okay. But the thing about it, but with them, it's all about Giannis is his greatness now being wasted, and in your eyes. And what do they do about it, if anything?
Well, that's the story of the game. So, as you mentioned, Giannis had 43. Lillard had 14 and was 1 of 8 from 3. So the first
15,
question,
right?
Yeah, I mean, so the first question, Bob, is do you trade Giannis? Or do you just say, look, he's still too good and too young. We got to rebuild around him.
Well, that is their question. And they have to make up that decision. What
you got to keep him. I mean, these guys, the problem with the league is like, we got so spoiled, if I may pontificate for a moment. We got so spoiled from like Bird, Magic, Jordan, LeBron, possibly Durant. And we think that every 5 years, this like all-world player is going to come along. They don't. Like, Giannis is the last of a breed. Like, to me, if they don't try to rebuild around Giannis, they're stupid. That's what I think, Bob.
Oh, he's done. He's still a phenomenal player. Well, okay, but that's where they are there. And Lillard has turned out to be a mistake, as Jeff just pointed out for sure. All right. So meanwhile, the Celtics, they do what they had to do in a sense.
But Jeff, do they rebuild around Giannis or do they trade him?
No, you got to try to rebuild around him. But, all it takes is the players saying, I want out, and then they have no choice.
Right.
That's the problem. You can say that all you want. Right. You want to rebuild around. You want to
That's how
rebuild.
they got Lillard.
Right, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob's right.
So, they knew they had to make a move, or they felt like they had to appease Giannis. They made the wrong move, and now you've got Dame Lillard under contract for, I think it's next year for $58 million, and then the following year he's got a player option for more than $60 million. So all I'm saying is, guys, like, you
That
may be
hurts.
stuck with these two until Giannis says, "Hey, I want out," and then what do you do? What do you do?
No.
Oh, it's a conundrum. Let me ask you this, for the sake of being a true Boston mediaite, have we found anything wrong with the Celtics, Bob? Anything?
Not really. I mean,
I know.
They touch every base. They've got enough depth. They're surviving without a very important player without whom we don't think they can win a championship. Although they survived for 37 days last year in the playoffs, the middle of the playoffs without Porzingis, but they're not even close to being whole without him. They're a very different team with him at both ends of the floor, and they're still 8-2. We expect
Jaylen was out, and Jaylen was out with a hip injury.
Right. So,
Jaylen
like, I'm
was
sitting
out.
here, the reason I ask it, Bob, is, and you're right, I don't have an answer, but Jeff, the reason I asked Bob the question is, like, and we're going to get to the Knicks, but the Knicks are 4-5. They were supposed to have a strong start. They didn't. I mean, are we looking? I mean, as you get into a season, sometimes you start to see things, right? You start to see little cracks. I don't see any.
It's hard to find them. Yeah, it's hard to find them right now. Again, Jaylen Brown hasn't played well, but he's been hurt. No Porzingis, but Neemias Queta comes off the bench and has been terrific, and Pritchard's been able to kind of carry the team for spurts, and they just have so many weapons. Derek White's been Derek White, right? Like, that's the best thing you could say about Derek White. He's just Derek White, and you know what you're going to get every single night from him. Yeah. Same with Drew Holiday. You're not going to get the big scoring numbers, but you know what you're going to get out of Derek White and Drew Holiday. Every single night, they're the consummate professional. They're going to show up. Right. Tatum's been terrific for the most part. Obviously he's got his shooting slumps, but again, he does more than that. Even when he's not shooting it well, he can impact the game, and he'll move the ball and get guys easy looks. So, there's not much, guys. There's not much you can get from this team.
He's turned into what we go dial back 2 years ago. We were talking what we wanted him to be. He's done it. Right. He's done it, and he's got a ring to prove as proof and validation, and 3 straight years of all league. No, we have no. You can't complain about it. Some nights his shots off, but he doesn't. It's not the whole game. I'll remind you that was the ultimate greatness of Larry, is that he beat you in different ways. I mean, if Larry's shot was off, he had 15 rebounds, or 13 assists. And Tatum has turned to do the idea of that, not the same scope of that, but the idea of that.
Right.
He help you in different ways.
I need to pay homage to Mr. Ryan, Jeff, because I never thought Peyton Pritchard would be this good.
I mean, nobody did. Nobody did. Again, you look at him. Listen, Bob's 1 for 2 on these small Celtics guards coming off the bench. I'm going to remind him of the Carson Edwards. We need to bring back that pod.
Who?
We need to bring back that pod, Bob.
We got a bad connection.
But Pritchard, man, like, he's just such a gamer, and again, a great shooter, tough as nails, isn't a defensive liability. Where I think, again, people thought he could or would be. Sometimes he is, but for the most part, he holds his own on that end of the court.
Yeah, he does. He's a tough little guy. He's a scrappy.
Yeah. So, like, the end of the day, your bench is better than it was a year ago when Porzingis comes back, because you're going to throw Horford back off the bench. Pritchard's much better. Hauser may not be putting up quite the numbers, but he's still a year older. He does what he does.
Oh, he does.
And I still think Baylor Shireman guys can help you by the end of the year.
Yeah,
I still think,
he gets his feet wet. But one of the things, Bob, I look at Pritchard now, and I think that he's even more than scrappy. If you're an opposing team and Pritchard comes off the bench, you got to pay attention.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying, on that end, he's always...
but before he's like the scrappy little can-doer. Well, right now, the guy, he puts up 15 points in the first half. He comes off the bench. This guy isn't just somebody nipping at your heels. If you don't pay attention to Peyton Pritchard, he's going to burn your ass.
No, he's turning into a real major asset for this team.
Right.
There's no major asset.
And I didn't see that coming. Mr.
Hey,
Ryan,
can we get to the quote? Gary, can we get to the quote of the day?
Yeah.
You mean Jaylen Brown? I buried the lead. Sorry, I buried the lead.
You
Jeff,
buried the lead.
I buried the lead.
You've been doing this for 100 years.
Yeah, I know, and I
buried the lead today.
All right, I buried the lead. Okay, listen. So setting it up, Jaylen Brown says that the freak Giannis gave him the fake handshake coming off the floor.
Yeah, and he did. We saw it twice.
But what did he call him? You're burying the lead again.
I'm giving it to you. What did he call him?
He called him a child.
Right.
They asked him after the game, and Jaylen Brown called Giannis a child. Like, listen, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's pretty strong, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, it is. But that if someone gave you tell me who you think would have done a thing like that, we all would have raised our hand and say Jaylen Brown. That's just another affirmation of who he is. And he doesn't give a damn and at all. And so it was fun. It was an amusing little subplot of the game. I'll put it that way. That's all. But it's not. It's long range. I don't think there are any long range ramifications.
No, I don't know.
But it's Jaylen Brown, big. That's who he is.
You know how you can say that? You know why you can say that if you're Jaylen Brown now? When you know your team is significantly better and you're not scared of Milwaukee anymore.
Right.
You would not have said that 2 years ago. No chance.
Jaylen Brown has become the man that Marcus Smart wanted to be.
Well, he's backing it up. That's right. He backs it up. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. They got over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all, so you just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. Your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get into the action in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay even if one of your players gets hurt or injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Sign up today and give $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus because it's guaranteed. Think Steph Curry will get more than 4 3-pointers this week, or Anthony Edwards more than 27 points? Cook up some hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season. Get your crew to run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And, some of the Prize Picks you could be looking at: Luka Doncic for more than 31.5 points, Steph Curry for more than 4 3-pointers, Anthony Davis more than 11 boards, the freak Giannis for more than 29.5 points. Again, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Well, we love good. And the thing we appreciate about Jaylen Brown, and this is, as I think we can call the three of us throwbacks, Mr. Goodman, I would put you in that group as well. Yeah. It's nice to have these little, rivalries here, if you will, or trash talk in a league that is always buddy, 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 buddy.
True.
It's nice to have a little drama. It's nice to have maybe, I don't know if we'll ever have Moses Malone eats bleep again, but it would be nice to have a little of that back. So thank you, Jeff.
Well, I think we can count on that as long as Jaylen Brown's around.
Right.
He'll stir the pot every now and then.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. So, Bob, what's going on with your Knicks? How come they're not? What's the deal here?
Well, I try to stay on top of this via the New York media, and the Bridges has been a disappointment at the defensive end. Apparently, the whole chemistry is not there. It's just not there. Towns is putting up some big numbers. Now, how about the latest? They got 2 guys scored 30 and they lose last night. Brunson and Town got 30 each, 33 and 30 respectively, and they lose. Their depth is suspect.
But their depth stinks. Their depth stinks. It's not suspect. It stinks.
Okay. I will yield to Mr. Goodman, okay, in his assessment of the Knicks.
You know how you can tell, Bob? You know how you can tell? I'll give you some numbers.
Yeah.
To back it up. They are dead last in bench minutes and bench scoring. Dead last in the league. They have nothing coming up. I mean, other than McBride.
Yeah.
And Tyler Kolek doesn't really play much because Campaign is their backup point guard right now.
So he's hurt now, too.
Their bench stinks right now. They're getting nothing out of it. And, yeah, I mean, Brunson's playing well. But like you said, Bridges isn't guarding at the level that they brought him in to do. And he's not shooting threes. Neither is Josh Hart. Those two haven't been very good so far. Brunson's been as advertised, which he's going to be. We don't worry about Brunson. Towns is up and down. His offensive numbers look good. And OG's actually shot it well. But it's been the other Villanova Knicks, Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, that have been disappointing. And I'll say this, and I like Josh Hart. I like Josh Hart a lot. But I think on a championship team, Josh Hart is great coming off the bench. That's what I would say. And that's where they're a little bit off. And I'm not sure, again, I never thought they were a championship team. I always thought they were a full step below the Celtics. And again, it's early. They're 4-5. It's early. They can go on a run. They did it last year, if you remember. The schedule was favorable for a stretch, and they went on a crazy run for a month. So they could do that again, but they got a lot of work to do. They got to solidify their bench.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeff, it's interesting. And Bob, I'll toss this at you here. Milwaukee makes a deal to get better. They're worse. The Knicks think they're on the doorstep. They make a deal to get better. And right now they're worse. So like now, dealing with chemistry is tough.
And Philly could be the same way with Paul George. We'll see.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, they got enough problems, physically to put a team on the floor. So Philly, which leads us in the East to the story of the NBA this far in the young season, the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's the story. That's the story.
It is, it is
11-0 now, Bob.
Yeah, I looked it up. I knew there was a year. This is the best start in their history. Yeah. But they had a 1988-89. They got off to a great start. Yeah. And I looked it up exactly what it was. They were 30-7 at one point in that season.
They were fun then. That year they were fun.
Yeah, they were really good. And that was that's just and back in '76 they went to the conference finals against the Bullets and lost the famous. Won a saver. They went to the finals, the conference finals, to beat the Bullets. Went on a basket by Dick Snyder when they literally tore down the backboard at the Richfield Coliseum. Anyway, but I was brought to mind that team of 88-89. I made sure I got the numbers right with this team, but obviously 11-0 speaks for itself, and it's well earned. And I don't know how far they're going to go, but to me they clearly are a threat. We got a game coming up. Circle your calendar, folks. The 19th, a week from Tuesday. They were playing. They'll be coming to Boston. So we'll see.
All right, Gary, that team, that Cleveland Cavs team. Name as many starters as you can.
Oh no, I'm useless. I mean, just the dude from Utah then, who's finally healthy. I think he played for the Cavaliers. I just blanked on his name. He used to play for the Jazz. Who free agent? He went to Cleveland. But,
not Elo. Elo?
Oh, are you talking about 88 or this year?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I want you to name as many 88? Starters as you get from that team.
Oh, I have a better chance. I have a better chance with that team than this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Elo, Doherty,
Price, Mark Price. Larry Nance.
Larry Nance.
You're missing two starters. You're missing two. One's easy. One's got a son right now at Rutgers who's one of the best freshmen in the country.
Ron Harper.
Yeah. And you're missing one who got into a point shaving scandal back in college.
I should know this off
at Tulane.
Oh,
Hot Rod Williams.
Yeah,
Hot Rod Williams.
I love that team, guys. I love that Cleveland Cavs team. I thought they had a chance to win a championship. And this, I just remember Elo.
Like I just remember Michael Jordan eating up Elo, right, for that big day.
Well, that famous shot. Yep.
I think this team's similar in some ways, guys. Can I say, like, I think there's some similarities. A lot of really good players on this year's team, led by Donovan Mitchell. But, like, that Cavs team didn't have a superstar. They had a lot of really, really, really good players, but not a dude that was, like, at the highest level. Same thing with this year's Cavs team, which I think is going to prohibit them from getting to the Eastern, maybe even getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see them play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They got a long way to go.
Well, I mean, they always remember that Cavaliers team reminds me of the Utah Jazz. Where they had Doherty and they had Price, they had Elo. But they just couldn't get over the top, just like the Jazz. They were just kind of at that next level.
Yep. They had more around him, though. I mean, Mark Price was an elite shooter, right?
Yeah.
Like Ron Harper was a really, really good off guard. Like they had balance, they had talent, especially in the starting five. They just like this Cleveland team. I'm telling you, like they've got good balance. Garland's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Garland's averaging 20 a game. Mobley's averaging 18 a game.
He's awesome.
They've got wait a minute. I know it's early, but they get 6 guys averaging double figures.
Yep. Yeah. No, listen, again, they're a really good team. It's just like they're a step below the Celtics at every position. How's that? At every single position, they're kind of a little bit of a notch below, I would say. The one guy I actually think is like star potential is Mobley. If he ever got some more killer in him, he's just got the whole package. He's so I remember seeing him in high school. That kid defensively, what he could do. He's skilled. He doesn't want to like take over. That's just not his personality.
'Tis the most wonderful time of the year. Yes, the NBA season, folks. It is the best. Look, the NFL is great. I understand. But if you're looking into star power, celebrity, entertainment, it's the NBA. There's no doubt about it. And my Celtics, I'm looking for them to defend. We need a new dynasty in the NBA. We need one. Okay? And I think this Celtic group can do it. I know the Celtic group can do it. And you know who else, from what I understand, is a Celtic fan? Is Hugh Jackman. Yes, Wolverine himself, the greatest showman. Hugh Jackman is a big Celtic fan. And if you're like us and you want to check out the Celtics or maybe any other team that happens to be coming to town to try to knock off the kings of the NBA, the Celtics, make sure you go to Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Now, Game Time, and you can get your Celtics tickets there. It's really easy to do. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier because Game Time Picks filters out the fluff, right, to show you incredible deals and great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Like when I go to my Game Time app, it says Celtics game right there. Boom, pops up, how much the price is. I'm ready to go. It's as simple as that. They have super deals. They're as good as it gets. Check it out on the Game Time app. And again, I can't emphasize how easy it is, even for an idiot like me. You download the app. It's got a G on it for Game Time. You just click it on. You can designate where you want to go, what you want to do. You can, favorite your games and your cities and so forth. And it pops up on the screen. You click it on, and there you go. And you're off and running. It's as simple as that. They also have curated deals that make it easy to find best prices and great seats. They have the super deal. And I love this part. You know the view of your seats before you buy them. You know what you're getting. And it has the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and so much more. So, Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on concerts, comedy, theater, sports. Oh, speaking of concerts, Coldplay coming to Gillette Stadium in July of 2025. Tickets are already up on Game Time. Not bad either. Not bad at all. And the Jingle Ball Kiss, the iHeart Jingle Ball at the Garden, you can get tickets on that too. And they always have big stars around Christmas time. So all-in pricing, toggling, they call it toggling. It shows you everything up front. No surprise fees at checkout. And I mentioned the seat views, great panoramic views, so you know you're buying. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Guys, don't forget, you didn't mention one guy. You didn't mention D. Wade. Dean Wade.
Dean Wade's actually
Dean Wade. Well,
playing well.
The idiot I am. I just saw D. Wade on the roster, and I went, wait a minute, I just had a senior moment. Then I go, oh, it's Dean Wade. You're telling me this guy's good?
Yeah. Came out of Kansas State. He's become a nice piece for Cleveland. Yes.
That's why we love Jeff Goodman, Bob Ryan.
Right. All right, we got to bring up the sad news of the day, because it is, and no matter who you root for, you don't want these things to happen. But Oklahoma City's season may just have been derailed, at least for 2 months, because last night Chet Holmgren went up to block a shot, came down, fell hard on his right hip, and you see he was in instant agony. And they're talking 2 months minimum now, and this is when Oklahoma City was playing very well. He's irreplaceable to them. Let's face it, he's irreplaceable, and this is sad. But on both levels, for them and for the young man who, as Jeff and I, were commiserating before we got rolling. It just seems like if anybody was going to, it could have happened to anybody. He went up to block a shot, and he was up airborne, and he came down hard. But as Jeff said to me, it just seems the odds are always more that it's going to be him rather than somebody else. He just seems to be doomed.
Yeah, he had a freak injury, Gary, that he missed his whole rookie season with a foot injury.
Right.
This is another kind of freak injury. Not really, though, because he landed on his hip here, and he's going to be out, like Bob said, a couple months. And this is a guy that there were question marks about drafting him out of college because of his body. Right. And again, it's the opposite of Zion. But I'll say this, I just looked it up, and Zion, just so when it hurt again, and he's played 190 out of a possible 338 games in his career. So he's missed 148 games already in a quarter, not even a little over 4 seasons. Chet missed his whole rookie season. He played every game last year. He did. He played all 82.
Right.
But I just feel like these injuries are going to, unfortunately, derail both of them. And I pray they both stay healthy, number one. I pray it doesn't also affect Victor Wembanyama, who's got a similar body build.
Well, yeah, I don't know what you do about it.
Well, Victor's got a different routine, Gary. Like Victor, supposedly from a young age, has this trainer, has this routine before every game that he's done since he was like 13, 14 years old. So he's kind of tried to prepare himself against this. Knowing what his body build was going to be. You don't know. I mean, Zion certainly hasn't done what he needs to do.
Right.
We know that his weight fluctuates significantly. And Chet, to my knowledge, I know he didn't have the routine of like Victor when he was in college at Gonzaga. I don't know if that's changed since he got in the NBA, since he got hurt with a foot injury his rookie year. But, he probably should meet with Victor. And find out what Victor does, because so far so good for Wembanyama.
Well, when you say a pelvic fracture, I read the details on it. To me, Bob, that's like one of those things that may never go away. That's what I
know. I don't like to see.
When they say 8 to 10 weeks, I'm like, hey, if he's back that soon, awesome.
There's no way they're going to bring him back,
Jeff.
with his body build, with the risking of this kid. There's no way they're going to rush him back. There's no reason to.
Bob, how much does this take away from OKC? Because they still have, they've got some great players on the team besides him, but
he anchors their defense. They can construct a defense to with him as a very formidable rim protector that they will not be able to do any longer to that degree. So it's going to hurt them there before, first of all. And so that's why I say he's irreplaceable. I don't see anything else roster it's going to be able to replicate that. So they're going to have to score more points, I think. All right, make an adjustment in that way, but he does anchor their defense.
Speaking of defense, it seems that the Golden State Warriors have developed a new identity. Now, maybe I missed it in the past, but I always thought of them as an offensive juggernaut. But as they are off to 8-2, Jeff Goodman, they have a new mentality because, yeah, they're on the top of the league in the offensive categories. They're also like second in the league in team defense.
Yeah, they have to. I think Steve Kerr realized, again, you got to be, play young. You got Trace Jackson Davis in the middle, who's long, he's active with Looney. Those give you two active bigs, younger guys. You still got Draymond, one of the best defensive players in the league. Andrew Wiggins should be. I mean, I've said this since I first saw him play at 14 years old. Andrew Wiggins, talent-wise, guys, is a top 10 talent in the NBA. And on some nights, he's a top 10 player. Unfortunately, it's like 1 out of every 10 nights. And defensively, he should be all NBA like every year, and he's not. And if you can get that out of him consistently, they got to hang their hat on their defense as well. Obviously, you got Steph. You're gonna ride with Steph here on the offensive end, but you got to be able to guard now, especially. You're going to be a lot better immediately because Clay couldn't guard it all last year.
Well, then again on the offensive end, the old guy stuck with 36 last night. And Curry was 7 for 13 on threes. He doesn't look any different than he did fill in the blank years ago. Right now, does he?
Not much. No, because his game. You know what it is too, Bob. His game was never predicated on athleticism. That's not his game. So, even though he gets older, it's about angles.
Yeah.
It's about this,
right?
As much as anything, that's where Steph has an advantage. Obviously, he's the best shooter we've ever seen. But beyond that, his IQ and ability to score with the ball in his hands or move without the ball, he's a savant in so many ways, in addition to being an elite shooter.
Well, he's more important to them than ever right now because they do need those 36 points. And they're very interesting to watch. I mean, they're suddenly where I know I had written them off. And by the way, they're not winning a championship, but they certainly are worth watching, and they're giving their fans as much as they should. And I guess we have to give some credit to Kerr as a great coach.
Yeah.
In addition. And but they're surprised. I mean, Cleveland clearly, the extent that we knew Cleveland was going to be good. The extent of a start like this is no one saw coming, and no one saw Golden State being this competitive. I don't think. I know I didn't.
What about basically trading Klay Thompson out for Buddy Hield?
Yeah, and Buddy, who his last couple of games he hasn't been so dynamic. He was very dynamic when we saw him a week ago, but he was off to a very quick start. Leveled off the last couple of games, but still, he was giving them exactly what Klay Thompson, used to give them.
Bob, when you saw them, was there something different about them?
Well, what impressed me was the way they went to the hoop in transition. I think I mentioned this, that they had guy after guy was attacking the rim in transition. They were making full use of transitions there and finishing very, very well. They made the Celtics transition defense look very bad, very weak. I wasn't, that just jumped out at me. And Curry's going to make shots. You knew that Hield was going to make shots, but that aspect of the game, guy after guy, and it was very impressive. So that got my attention.
I'm so happy that we have stuff to talk about now, like real stuff. like I felt like, we needed this. We needed something good. The Bucks falling off. I don't know if that's good to talk about because I love Giannis, but Jaylen.
Well, the Celtics
are
the Celtics are boringly perfect. And during the summer, we had great story time with Mr. Ryan, but even Bob was running out of stories by the time we hit October. Yep. So
agreed.
We had to get back into business. But the Celtics I don't want to say the Celtics are a non-story, but they kind of are. You know what I mean? I mean, what else do you say?
Going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard because, again, even you two, Mr. Overreaction duo last year, who tried to overreact to the Celtics when they lost, a game that they didn't show up for. I tried to I tried to keep you grounded. I tried to tell you just wait for the postseason. That's all that mattered, and you tried to poo-poo me on that. This year, I think you learn. Even if they lose 3 in a row, I think we know it doesn't really matter all that much until they get to the postseason. And we want to see Porzingis back. Like that. Yeah. That's like the thing is like when he comes back, like how dominant can they be if they're clicking on all cylinders with a healthy Porzingis now and their bench being bolstered by Peyton Pritchard taking it up a notch.
Right.
And you want to maximize the opportunity because of the fact is that Holiday's not a kid. And we have a very special backcourt, very special. And not the most talented, not the most explosive, not the most dynamic, but the best in terms of how to play basketball this league has. And he's old, and White's over 30, and Holiday's what, 33.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So we want to maximize this opportunity with this group. This group plays together. Is such a good group. The question you posed earlier to us, Jeff, about where's the weakness? And no, we have an exemplary team. So let's get the most out of it.
As we leave you, gentlemen. Just some final thoughts, and I'm wondering how your attitude has changed in a year for the upcoming in-season Emirates tournament. Everybody.
Well, I know that about all I know is that I know who did not win it last year, and I don't give a damn if
didn't the Lakers win it. Did the Lakers win it?
Lakers
won.
I'm not. I am remotely. I'm profoundly uninterested. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to pay attention.
But didn't we see better? I hear you guys. I hear you. But while we don't need it. But the reality is, the level of play stepped up.
You think so?
It worked.
There's money at stake. No matter what, money. I think you could. The money doesn't mean that much to obviously LeBron or AD because of what they're making, but like to some of those young guys, it's a significant amount of money to some of these young dudes that are just trying to make the roster, the two-way guys.
The reality is we can poo-poo it, but Silva was right. The quality, in the dog days of the NBA, the quality of play goes up. I mean, you don't need it, Jeff. Bob doesn't need it. I don't need it, but it kind of works. I mean, listen, I'm teaching at Emerson where the attention span is 2 minutes.
Right. No, you're right. For these kids, anything new, novel.
It's like I had my students. I said, I want you to do a daily log of how you watch sports. On Sunday, the only reason they watch more football than just their team is because of fantasy and betting. It's like they'll say, I watch 7 hours of football. And they go, I watch my home team, but I watch another 3 or 4 hours because I'm betting or I have fantasy.
No question.
So the game is not enough. For us, it is. But for the new generation, it's not. And on that note, you old bastards, I will talk to you later.
See you later.
All right. Great job as always, guys. And we are brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. Pick more, pick less with Prize Picks.